So if you've been on YouTube for a while now, then you've almost certainly come across the term video game reviewers. A group of internet personalities who solely talk about everything video game related, ranging from topics like consoles, controllers, mascots, merchandising, and just anything video game related. Game reviewers are honestly some of my favorite YouTubers to watch, since they can all have a wide range of personalities. Some of my personal favorites are guys like Scott the Woz, Angry Joe, Early JonTron, Dex the Swede, The Completionist, and so many more. Now while these guys are all amazing YouTubers, they do kind of follow the same format. You get some quirky white guy, place him in front of a camera, have the background be a bunch of video games on a shelf, and you gotta give him a wacky catchphrase. Bazinga! But in my opinion, there's only one video game reviewer that I believe stands out amongst the others. A creator who has entertained millions of people since the beginning of YouTube. And a creator who's been able to stay relevant and entertaining after so many years. And the person I'm talking about is none other than the Angry Video Game Nerd. Now, if you aren't aware of who this guy is, the Angry Video Game Nerd, or AVGN for short, was one of the very first people on the internet to talk about video games. He started reviewing games all the way back in 2004, before YouTube was even a thing, and he's still going strong to this day. Now, a lot of people assume that it's near impossible to stay relevant on this website, due to a lot of factors like humor changing over time, YouTube enforcing new policies, viewers getting tired and moving on to the next big YouTuber, or the creator just gets burnt out, they pursue other ventures, or the worst case scenario, they end up like Minecraft YouTubers. I love kids! But despite being on this platform for almost 20 years, JINXS has not only stayed relevant, gaining consistent views, but has also been able to hold the same level of quality and entertainment for so many years. How has he been able to achieve this? Well, that's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to discuss how the AVGN has remained one of the most entertaining and most beloved creators on this platform. With all that said, let's get into the video.
This game sucks.
Now, to talk about how the AVGN rose to success, we gotta start from the beginning, like before YouTube was even a thing. The year was 2004, GTA San Andreas was selling like crazy, Shrek 2 had just released, I had just been born, and a young filmmaker named James Roloff came up with an idea for a little video about this gamer who really hates the game, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Looking back on the video, it seems like a relatively simple idea. Some guy getting angry over a shitty video game, what else is new? But you need to understand that this was 2004, YouTube wasn't even a thing back then. This video will be followed up with another review of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where instead of being a gameplay video like Simon's Quest, it's a live action video of James ranting about how terrible the game is. This would also be the very first time we get to see the signature nerd outfit, with the white shirt, pens in the pocket, and glasses. Now these two videos will be included in the Cinemassacre Gold VHS tapes, which were a collection of VHS tapes that James himself had produced. Now these two shorts initially didn't get that much attention, but the people who did watch them found them to be quite entertaining. But later in 2006, YouTube had really started to get popular, and James decided to upload the two videos onto the Cinemassacre YouTube channel. Soon after, James would make another video where the nerd reviews the Karate Kid on the NES. And at this time, the nerd was only known as the Angry Nintendo Nerd, not the Angry Video Game Nerd. You can see in this Karate Kid video that the character is really starting to come alive, and has a much higher production quality when compared to the previous episodes. He named these three videos the Angry Nintendo Nerd Trilogy, and he didn't really plan on continuing the series, but surprisingly the series really took off, and he started getting a lot of attention from these videos, so he decided to make more of them. But if he was going to continue making these reviews, he first had to change his name from the Angry Nintendo Nerd to the Angry Video Game Nerd, mainly because he didn't want to get into any trouble with Nintendo, and he wanted to review other consoles like Atari, Sega, and many more. The series would really start to take off in September 2006, when he made a review of TMNT that surprisingly went viral. And after that, well, the rest is history. People got so much enjoyment from watching this angry gamer rage at games that seem innocent enough. But why exactly did these videos get so much love from people? Well, I think it has to do with multiple factors. One of the first being how in the early 2000s, video game reviewers were somewhat uncommon. Sure, you had IGN and Kotaku? Oh man, I'm so bad at English. Kotaku, yeah. But they were all large media companies, and the angry video game nerd was just some guy ranting about some simple games from the 80s and 90s. He was not only one of the first video game reviewers, but he was one of the first reviewers to have a distinct personality and character. People had never seen a series like this before, so obviously they became obsessed with it. Hell, half the time these videos aren't even reviews, more so the nerd getting angry over small and tiny issues with these games. I think that's another reason why the nerd became so popular, the actual character. The nerd represents the rage within all of us. Like, I think we've all played a video game before where we get so frustrated that we want to consume lots of alcohol and go for a nice little drive. And the nerd character perfectly represents this. There's nothing more entertaining than seeing the nerd character get so angry and frustrated over some dumb NES game. It mainly has to do with JINXS' incredible acting abilities. He's able to inhabit a wide range of emotions just with his facial expressions. Like, look at these faces. How the hell is he capable of that? Plus, he's able to switch from a relatively calm and relaxed person to an insane psychopath within just a few seconds. Like, it's genuinely incredible the amount of skills he possesses. I don't even know how he was able to record all this and never get exhausted. At some points, his reactions to whatever he's playing feel so authentic and genuine, and they hardly ever feel phoned in or fake. And I think that deep down we all love watching people say the funny swear words like shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. That's the George Carlin reference. And watching the nerd just spew a load of profanities over a game can be so hilarious. But it's not just his acting abilities that really work, it's the physical comedy as well. Seeing people get injured or react to something in a very over-the-top and cartoony way can either be very funny or not very funny. And thankfully with the nerd, it's not funny. In fact, it's actually really funny, if that made sense. In the older episodes, the slapstick comedy was sort of weak in a way. Like, it wasn't bad per se, but you can tell that James was still figuring out the character and how things worked. But in episodes like Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle, which by the way are some of the funniest episodes he's ever made, the slapstick comedy is at its peak, and even if you can tell it's fake, that doesn't really matter. There's nothing more funny than seeing the nerd beat the shit out of Bugs Bunny than take a massive shit on him. Like, that's just comedy gold. I think another reason why the AVGN has remained so iconic over the years is how the series never once felt like James was running out of ideas or milking the show. If you see videos of James outside of the nerd character, you can see just how passionate he is for making videos and how much he loves his audience. With most creators on this platform, they tend to slowly lose motivation to work on videos after a good few years. Burnout and demotivation fucking sucks, and it's sad to see YouTubers who you grew up watching just stop making videos because it's no longer fun for them. Or in other cases, creators will just start gaining less and less views as time goes on. It's a really unfortunate aspect of YouTube that has happened to countless creators. This could either be because their audience simply moves on from the content, or YouTube just starts pushing them away because they don't see that creator as advertiser friendly. But somehow, by some weird miracle, the angry video game nerd has remained relevant and popular, and it's not like he's had to change with YouTube's new policies. He's still swearing and making crude jokes, albeit a bit more tame. Like, he had a series called You Know What's Bullshit, where he just talks about stuff that pisses him off, but nowadays it's referred to as You Know What's BS, which is a bit of a downgrade, but honestly it's the best he could do given the circumstances. But I'm still amazed with how James has kept the same level of quality with the series. Like, you gotta understand how insane that is, and keep in mind he's no longer making the series by himself. He now has the assistance of Screenwave Media helping him with his videos. Now I just want to clarify that Screenwave Media does not own AVGN. They simply help with production of videos and get a 20% profit. Now this is undoubtedly a very controversial topic of discussion, since a lot of people believe that Screenwave Media is ruining AVGN, and I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, the older series was so much better and Screenwave is ruining everything, because it's a lot deeper than that. Big media companies taking over small channels is usually a very bad sign. For example, take a look at Smosh. While their older videos are certainly outdated in terms of humor, you can't deny that there is a small bit of enjoyment in them. But then they got taken over by Defy Media, and well, you know what happened from there. The quality just went straight down the drain, and they started producing the most generic videos you can imagine. Like, look at this shit.
You can't keep getting away with it!
They started hiring new actors who are fine, I guess, but there's no need to bring in these new actors when the series worked perfectly with just Ian and Anthony. But even with Screenwave taking over production of AVGN, the episodes never feel bland or generic in any way. We still have the nerd playing video games and getting angry. That's all the series is about. Nothing deep, nothing complex, just a nerdy guy playing some video games. Even if James does not have that much involvement with the series now, he's still dedicated to the character, which I immensely respect. Plus, we gotta be grateful with the fact that Screenwave never had characters like Quirky White Man, and Quirky White Woman, and... I do understand why people aren't fans of the newer episodes, like I really do. An example that's brought up a lot is that he just doesn't swear as much as he used to. And yeah, that is kinda fair. A part of what made old AVGN so much fun to watch was listening to the nerd spew a load of profanities, but he still swears a good bit in the recent episodes. As of recording this video, the newest episode to release is the Earthworm Jim video, and it's a pretty solid video if I'm gonna be honest. Putting past how old he looks now, it's still an enjoyable episode with lots of swearing, crude humor, and the AVGN doing what he does best, reviewing shitty games that suck ass, but with better production quality. Now this is usually the point in the video where I start running out of things to say, so I'll let another YouTuber talk about the AVGN while I stall for time. Take it away!
YouTube's a place full of different and unique creators. It's provided a place for all types of content. Everything from cooks to weaponsmiths, gamers, historians, animators, and so much more. Acting is a place for diverse voices from all over the map, no matter how big or small, in order to tell a story and entertain. But one part of the sea of YouTube which has always interested me at a very young age is the reviewing side of things here. Shocking, I know. And when talking about the duo that essentially grandfathered in this style of video which a lot of us live in, my mind will always go to the nostalgia critic and of course, the angry video game nerd. However, even though I have a soft spot for a good old Doug Walker since I did find him first, recently I've been having a lot more of an appreciation for James's content and his approach to it. His undying passion for making videos with meticulously crafted camera work and costumes laid down the groundwork for a lot of us creators moving forward. I know it's very common to say X-YouTuber isn't like any other, but in this instance it does reign true, with a lot of his old back catalog of videos being filled to the brim with the passion and hunger for creativity that drives many a creator to push themselves in order to make the very best. And this can be certainly seen in arguably the golden chalice of the nerd's content, Crazy Castle, said by James himself to be an attempt at making the summer blockbuster of the nerd episode, taking 3 days of constant work in order to be complete. But even without mentioning all the achievements of James, there is an innate sense of sincerity that's in every episode, that there's a genuine want to entertain that's been there for almost 15 years. And that's what I truly believe every creator should strive to achieve for themselves, whether inspired by the nerd or not.
Thanks, Geek. Go subscribe. Now I think a good way to end this video would be to ask the question, did AVGN really leave an impact? At first glance, people would assume he's just another one of those angry, unfunny reviewers who say the funny swear words all the time, but he's so much more than that. AVGN, and James Roloff in general, changed the landscape of reviewing and entertaining on the internet. Sure, there were a good few people who were reviewing stuff on YouTube around the same time, but AVGN was one of the first to have a distinct character. You never feel bored when watching AVGN. There is always something going on that can leave viewers entertained for hours, and there can also be genuine criticism or praise for whatever he's reviewing. Sure, a lot of the time it is criticism, but that's kind of the fun of it. And thanks to James's character, he has inspired a plethora of reviewers that have made impacts on YouTube in their own way. For example, James helped inspire Doug Walker, who would eventually make the Nostalgia Critic. And Doug Walker, well, he certainly made an impact in his own way, that's for sure. But we can't deny just how important the AVGN is when it comes to the history of YouTube. The fact that his older videos still hold up to this day, and they aren't outdated, is just insane. While I wouldn't say he inspired me to start making videos, he has brought me so many laughs, and also briefly got me into collecting video games. I gave up after a few months since I realized that I needed lots of money to buy video games, but I have a GTA collection, isn't that cool? So this is my GTA collection and it's, you know, it's pretty cool. You got like the PS1 trilogy and then you have this fucking pile of shit and, you know, got all the games like GTA 4, even got Manhunt there, Vice City, San Andreas, you know, all the games, you know, it's all there, even Bully, which for some reason, this one is called Canis Canimede. I don't know why it's called that. I think it's just a UK thing, and unrelated, but I also have this game that I got in CEX for like 150. Yeah, it's certainly a game, alright. That's a game. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've wanted to make this video for a long time since I genuinely admire and respect James Roloff so much, and I am super excited to watch more of his projects. Also, sorry that I didn't get to talk about the AVGN movie. I just don't have a lot to say about it except, it's certainly an AVGN movie. Nothing terrible, nothing bad, just meh. Okay, we're done here. Play the outro.